Hi everyone, Bernard here. Hope you're all well. Welcome to the Citizen channel as we look back at our big match, don't we? So it's our big match review, isn't it? Of Manchester City versus Liverpool, played at the Etihad Sunday, 8th of November, 4:30 p.m. Yeah, a bit of a wet night, a little bit sulky for the players. Got the pitch gradually got a little bit worse. I mean, you can only have so much rain on a pitch. It's a very good pitch for drainage, etc. But yeah, it certainly did tell in the second half, and it did have an effect on the game, I think, overall. But we'll talk about that as we look through the game. We'll have our usual features today, of course. Highlights, lowlights of the game. A couple of those, wasn't there? Match talking points, match stats plus quirky stats. Only a couple this week, nothing too exciting. Our Pep last season watch, of course. No Rodri's Rocket Watch. Jonathan Ross. Rodri's Rocket Watch, none of that this week. The Manchester Evening News and my player ratings with Mr. Bukowski's ratings. Boss ratings as well. I've rated both bosses last night on how they played. Some media headlines and comments and much more as we look back, obviously, on the game. Please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications, and make sure your notifications are set to public so you get to hear about these things. And please, if you check my playlist, you'll see lots and lots of stuff on City history, City present as well. And also, if you're into, you or anyone else you know is into movies and films, I do vlogs on reviews on films and TV, etc, etc. So there's plenty of stuff on there if you can have a look at that, or if someone you know might be interested in it, that's fantastic. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. I'm 50 oddish, I think, short at the moment, 50 oddish short of 500, so I'm trying to get there by Christmas 2020, so much appreciated. And all your comments are, of course, welcome. Any comments you can make on the game or anything else you want to make a comment on, very, very welcome. Please, if you haven't got time to make a comment, a nice thumbs up. And it's nice to know you're out there. If you can give us a thumbs up, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Right, let's get on with this. Right, City starting lineup. Yeah, 5 changes to the Olympiacos game. Which is probably par for the course. He wasn't, he's obviously wasn't going to play his starting 11 in the Olympiacos game, was he? Even though, you never know, but I wouldn't have thought so. So you had Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Gundogan, Rodri, De Bruyne, Torres, Sterling, and Jesus. And the subs: Stefan, Stones, Ake, Zinchenko, Bernardo, Foden, and Garcia. Interesting. My lineup thoughts. Yeah, I got 9 correct. I did have Mahrez in, and I was hoping he wouldn't put Mahrez in, but obviously I was hoping Foden might have appeared in there somewhere, and obviously I wanted Jesus to be in there, so I was quite happy with that. So I got 9 right. As I said, I did put Mahrez in, but that was a bit tentative when I put Mahrez in anyway. But it's unusual, wasn't it? Stones, Ake and Garcia. Why? I have no idea. We had 3 centre-halves. If you expect all our centre-halves to break down in the weather, I'm not too sure. I mean, Phil Foden was man of the match, basically, against Liverpool in the 4-0 win back in July, and yet he didn't start him. More on him later as well, because he didn't even get on as sub, did he? It looked as though he was coming on, but that was more of an insult, I think, at the time. But we'll talk about that in the match highlights and lowlights. And obviously Mahrez, for squad rotation, wasn't even in the squad, so I don't believe that for one moment. I don't believe that's why Mahrez wasn't on the bench. Your best players, your top players, if they're being rotated, they still stick them on the bench. I'm not having any of that Mahrez thing. So there's something happening with that as well, which we'll perhaps talk about later as well. Obviously, the referees and assistants, it was Mr. Craig Pawson. I'll give his rating at the end. I wasn't overly impressed. Assistants were Lee Betts, Richard West. 4th officials, Andre Mariner. VAR, Paul Turney. Assistant VAR, Stephen Child. I haven't got a clue who the television screen was who helped us out. For the first time I've seen it in a City match. I mean, I might have forgotten one there. That's the first time I've seen the ref go over to the TV monitor to check something. So it's the first time I've seen that in what is it now? A season and a third, a season and a quarter or something. Right, match highlights, lowlights. Yes, Liverpool, as you'd expect. And this is the thing. It's no shock, is it, how Liverpool are going to start. Started very lively. Had 2 good chat. I mean, they're like buzzing around, aren't they? I mean, they're like pests. You just want to swat them away, don't you? They're just all over the place, that 3 or 4 front line you've got. They're just, they're not big lads. They're just a pain, aren't they? And you know, obviously you daren't touch them because they'll fall over as though they've been shot. And I mean, they were just buzzing around, weren't they? They started really live. They had two really good chances within a couple of minutes. They could have easily one of them been put away straight away, and we would have been in trouble. We had ours quite early on as well. I mean, Jesus ended up putting the ball across the box, and there was just nobody busting a gut to get in the box to actually finish it off. That was on about 4 minutes. And then obviously we didn't have long to wait, did we, for the first disappointment, the first real low light of the game. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to talk up a player and say how wonderful he's doing, and he's a star man and he's absolutely fantastic, you can bet your bottom dollar that the next game he plays as an absolute nightmare, and he is. You'll see my score on him later, but Walker couldn't do anything right yesterday. I mean, he was getting dummied by Liverpool players left, right and centre. Even for throw-ins, he was getting dummied by Liverpool players. When he went to get a throw-in, he missed things. So, yeah, I mean, he was having a torrid time straight away. I mean, his pace is very useful. Sometimes his pace can be a negative as well. And let's face it, he was a bit clumsy. I think Mr. Keane called him an idiot, but I mean, he's absolutely no place to call anyone, has he? That thug. So I mean, he was clumsy, but I mean, let's face it. 40 seconds earlier, we'd seen Raheem Sterling deliberately try and stay up, just outside. It wasn't a penalty. I think he got fouled outside of the box. And because he tried to stand up, obviously he didn't get away with it, did he? But what I thought the rule was, if you actually got a foul on you and you were given the referee decided to play on, he waited to see if anything came of it, and if it didn't, he brought back for the free kick. So what was Pawson doing? I have no idea. I thought that was the rules. I mean, perhaps they've changed them, and I'm not too sure. I mean, it was literally 3 seconds, 4 seconds after that he actually lost his balance, which obviously never regained it, did he, from the foul? So once we didn't have any advantage, surely it was a free kick. But hey, all right, we still had to defend. But literally 40 seconds, 45 seconds later, it was up the other end. Again, a bit clumsy by Walker. And obviously they had a penalty, didn't they? And they're not going to miss from the penalty. Salah's not going to miss. He's not Kevin De Bruyne, is he? He's not going to miss from the penalty. So, yeah, that was very, very disappointing. City players were whinging about the foul on Sterling. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it was 45 seconds later. So, at the end of the day, we should have been all organised and sorted, shouldn't we? So, it was a good pen by Salah. 1-0. I was a bit despondent because, let's face it, the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Liverpool were absolutely all over us, and they deserved at least one goal, and we're lucky perhaps not just to keep them to one goal. I think they were playing. I think the 4-4-2 was mentioned. I think they're playing 4-2-4. They don't have much of a midfield anyway, do they, Liverpool? I mean, you sort of bypass that most of the time. So, yeah, you were facing 4 attackers, and yet we didn't have any. Where was our midfielders coming back to help? There's, Rodri and Gundogan. They may as well just stand on the halfway line. I mean, they've got no pace anyway, but they're not going to battle back. I mean, there's no legs. There's no legs in midfield for City. There's no. When you need a Fernandinho as a DM, you haven't got Fernandinho. So what you've got 2 players taking his place, and those 2 players don't even add up to half of what Fernandinho gave us. So it was very, 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 very depressing, that first 20 minutes. First real chance for City came on 24 minutes when KDB put a ball right across the box, and it was too far in front of Jesus, wasn't it? But it did sort of fall to Sterling, and Jesus sort of stood around waiting for the pass from Sterling. But again, he divered and davered and bobbed about, and then it just ended up having a shot, and he got blocked by Alisson. But Jesus I think Jesus let him know he wasn't very happy about that. So this is when we were getting back in the game. I think that obviously once Liverpool went the goal up, they sort of didn't go foot off the pedal, but they sort of relaxed a little bit more. 31 minutes again, a KDB assist as Walker puts it to him. KDB cross finds him, finds Jesus with plenty to do, but his intended touch beats 2 players, and of course 31 minutes it's 1-1. A fantastic goal by Jesus, absolutely superb. And because of the way he reacted, you knew he'd done it. You knew he'd done it deliberately. You knew it wasn't a mistake. I mean, the ball came. If he'd done it accidentally, or if that had bounced accidentally, he would have been that split second slow to react. But he knew exactly where that ball was going. All right, he got the look that it didn't bounce too far from him, especially in the conditions. But yeah, and he toe-poked it past Alisson. An absolutely fantastic goal, 31 minutes. And well-deserved by City by then. We were actually coming back into it on 31 minutes. So that's 1-1. Uh, 32 minutes, KDB had a good chance, a couple of feet wide, wasn't it, with his shot. It just went skimming past the post. 40 minutes, another great chance for 2-1. Of course, as we get a penalty, there you go, definite penalty in my opinion. All the whinging about handballs. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, that's the most obvious penalty. He was slow to bring his arm away. His arm was away from the body, so it's a penalty. It's as simple as that. It wasn't in the silhouette of his body, was it? So all the pontificating by the commentators, etc., was just absolute rubbish. It's the most definite penalty I've seen, and Porce unfortunately agreed with that once he checked it on the big screen. But there you go. What a rubbishy penalty. I mean, goalie went the wrong way. So, I mean, KDB didn't even have to put it straight in the corner, did he? The goalie went the wrong way anyway. All he had to do was aim it perhaps 4 or 5 feet inside, you know, inside the post. I mean, Sergio used to score lots of penalties by just basically putting it down the middle. So, very disappointed by it. I'm not going to shout at KDB. At least he stood up and do it. I think that's his 7th penalty since he started taking them, and it's the first one he's missed. So I'm not going to have a go, but that sort of summed up probably KDB's day as well, to be honest with you. But yeah, what is it about us and Liverpool and penalties? I don't know. But there you go. So that was a great chance for 2-1. We missed that. I mean, Liverpool almost went in at half time 2-1 up themselves. They had a sort of a half chance, which Ederson managed to block and then cling to us with the Liverpool striker trying to get it off him after. So that was okay by Ederson, who again had been a bit heavy, been coming for things and missing things, and you know, and yet he could pull off 1 or 2 good things as well. It's very inconsistent yesterday. I think most of the players were a bit like that. They did something great and then something really bad. 3 minutes injury time was fair enough because of the various things with the penalty, etc. But nothing exciting. So 1-1. As I said, first half, 20 minutes superb by Liverpool, then City probably 50-50 after that. But obviously we've got a second half, haven't we? We've got a second half. Chance to make some substitutions, Pep? Let's see what we can do with that. 49 minutes, early chance for Liverpool after a very iffy punch. I mean, the weather's obviously, the rain is sleeting down. The conditions are terrible. I mean, when I do the player ratings after, I've not been very kind, but I mean, you know, I probably have to give a little bit of credence because the weather was awful. The pitch, you could just see the spray coming off the ball every time. It was rolling reasonably well on the pitch. But yeah, an iffy punch by Ederson. Fortunately, again, the Liverpool player hit it straight back at him, so he managed to get away with that. I did make a little note as I was watching the game that Walker was playing very poorly. 55 minutes, yeah, great cross from Cancel. I'm going to forgive Jesus this. He sort of rose for that header. He sort of did everything right, but put it wide of the post, and people have criticised him for that. Obviously, we'll be talking about my ratings before, but I thought he was so unlucky. I mean, he worked so hard last night, Jesus, and he sort of got the power in it. It wasn't just quite right, but hey, listen, strikers they haven't got 100% record. Every chance he scored, he goes in the net. He scored a superb goal in the first half. Of course, it would have been fantastic. He would have been a 10 out of 10 from me if he'd headed that in, but hey, there you go. Jesus again set up KDB, but a dipping shot just dipped too late over the bar. 60 minutes. I mean, the second half was a bit drab, wasn't it? I mean, I've got plenty on here, but it was all bookings, etc. Sterling was booked for a foul on Matip. I thought Matip was their worst player, Liverpool. I thought it was awful. 61 minutes, Torres was off and Bernardo was on. 62 minutes, Arnold off injured and Mr. Milner came on. I'm dreading him getting a goal, but fortunately he sort of played more defensively, didn't he? KDB, I think, made a little note that he never quite recovered in the second half. He never quite recovered from that penalty miss. I don't think he just couldn't do anything particularly right in the second half. 78 minutes, a yellow for Laporte as I think Salah backed into him, and yet Pawson gave a yellow against Laporte. I don't know what he's supposed to do. I think he did argue that point, but I don't think we saw any replays of it. Got an injury, didn't we? One of the was it Liverpool players got injured and taken off. Was that for oh yeah, that was for Milner, wasn't it? So there wasn't much to talk about that second half. There wasn't many clear-cut chances. 92 minutes, Walker got a yellow card, which sort of more or less put the top hat on his performance for the day. And there was a late Liverpool free kick, wasn't it? About 93 minutes. Again, I thought it was a bit soft at the time. I didn't think it was that great. But yeah, that was it. 84 minutes. Yeah, Mr. Foden was stripped off, ready to come on, which is just insulting anyway. What is the point of bringing on in the 84th minute? So not only did Pep, as I did say, I was a bit on Twitter before the game that he should have been a shoo-in to start this game with his legs, etc., and the ability to beat people and lay passes off, which we severely didn't have yesterday. To actually bring him on in the 84th minute was an insult anyway, and then not to bring him on anyway was even more of an insult. So I mean, you just couldn't have done worse. Pep just couldn't have done worse as far as Foden concerned if he tried. I mean, absolutely took the mick there. I wasn't very impressed with Pep on that one. So there you go, full time 1-1. Before we talk about the game, ref watch Pawson. Nah, I think he gave Liverpool, all right, he gave us the penalty, but I think he gave Liverpool most of the 50-50s. I think he should have given the foul on Sterling. He should, he played advantage. When we didn't get an advantage, he should have given us a free kick. He didn't do. That was an error. And it sort of happens at Liverpool, doesn't it? Last year at Anfield, remember, we should have had handballs, etc. The next minute, they go up the other end and score. So Pawson, I wasn't very impressed at all with his performance. I thought he was very, very poor last night. I'm only going to give him 5 out of 10 on my rating, Mr. Pawson. He can do one as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, the match sum up. A great start by Liverpool. They did look class. They did look class above City, to be honest with you. They looked again like we are at Anfield, a bit like deer in the headlights, weren't we? That start, but they can't keep that up for 90 minutes. That's what they do to teams, don't they? They have a 20-minute, 25-minute thing, and if they score 1, 2 or 3 goals, it's sort of game over. But if they don't get that big lead, they can't keep it up for 90 minutes. So once we'd equalised, it did start to look a little bit shaky. They had the odd moments, of course they did. I mean, you're bound to have an odd moment when you've got 3 or 4 little guys up front legging it all over the place. But if City had scored that second, if KDB had scored that second, the penalty, we won't know, will we? I mean, but it certainly wouldn't. I don't think it would have been the cagey affair it was certainly for the second half. Obviously, Liverpool would have had to come out, and that would have given us a chance to break and do something at the other end as well. But City always looked more likely in the second half, didn't we? We looked more likely than Liverpool to do something. But without KDB firing, it never really happened. I mean, Bernardo came on again. What was he supposed to do that late? There was no runners for him. People were tired. The game had sort of died by then. As far as Liverpool, yeah, of course we know how good they are. I mean, they do have weaknesses, and that spell of pace and positivity sort of usually wins games for them, doesn't it? So if you can get through that, you've got a chance against Liverpool, of course you have. And they do, I don't want to say that, I mentioned it Delap before, I mean, they do have some sort of bog standard players in the team, so they can be sort of punished and preyed upon. I do think they have confidence problems, things aren't going their way. If the Reds do go down, but so you can't really afford, you have to put your chances away against them, that's the thing, you have to make sure you do. So when you get a penalty, you have to put it in the net, simple as that. Would I change my opinion on them winning the title? Probably not, based on that. Even without Van Dijk, I think they've probably got enough there. But a lot of it will depend on, I don't think, I say they're not top at the moment, but if we can get some consistency, I was hoping this would boost us. A win against Liverpool would boost us on, but if we can get some consistency, yeah, we've got a chance, because I don't think, obviously, they're not going to run away with it, hopefully, as they did last year, and they are beatable, but yeah, we need to get some consistency. Match stats. Shots 7 by City, 10 by Liverpool. On target 2 for City, 3 by Liverpool. Possession 55% City, 45% Liverpool. Passes 550 by City with only 84% completion rate. That's one of the lowest I've seen for City, but you're playing Liverpool with the press, so not surprising. And the conditions as well. Passes by Liverpool 453 with just an 81%. So again, quite low from them as well. Fouls 19 by City, 11 by Liverpool. Again, that sort of goes back to, I think Pawson was giving them all the 50-50s. Corners 1 for City, 2 for Liverpool. Right, player ratings. Manchester Evening News, Mr. Bukowski's ratings. Right, here we go. Ederson, one of his busiest games in a while, where he had to be regularly alert and he rose to every challenge. I don't think he did. No chance with the goal, and made a number of excellent saves to keep his team competitive. He's given me 7. My starting point for this is 6. I'm just going to give Ederson the basic 6. He did some good stuff, but he did some iffy things that we got away with, and because we got away with them, they weren't picked upon. But yeah, allowing for the weather for conditions, I'll give him a 6, which is my basic. I thought he was okay for everything good he did. He did something bit iffy, so I'll give him 6 anyway, but Simon give him a 7. Walker, it didn't really happen for Walker, it didn't. A clumsy challenge on Mane to give away the penalty when Cancelo had the attacker covered and regularly struggled to keep possession. Yeah, he's given him a 5, I'm going to agree with that. I mean, he was lucky to get 5 as far as I'm concerned. Diaz slipped a few times in the driving rain, but still gave him performance that no alternative could have managed last season. His consistency should be applauded. So he's given him a 7, I'll agree with that. I'll give him a 7, which is quite high for me today. Laporte, Liverpool targeted his lack of acceleration, but to his credit that they never really worked any excellent opportunities from that. A welcome presence in the team. So to give Laporte an 8 as well. He's been very generous, Simon, today. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I think I'll give all the defenders apart from Walker a 7. So I'll give him a 7, Laporte. Cancelo, a lot of people's man of the match, wasn't it? As expected, left back was there and Liverpool looked to find space in behind, and he will never be the best defender. He did work hard enough though, stopping Salah superbly late on and produced a wonderful cross that Jesus should have headed in. Yeah, all right, it wasn't, yeah, no, I wouldn't say he should have headed in. I mean, it was a sort of a good chance he should have headed it in, but he almost got it right. So he's given him an 8, Cancelo. I want to give Cancelo again. I'll give him a 7. I thought it was a good mark. Say my base was 6 yesterday, so I'll give Cancelo a 7. I'm not as everyone was raving over. I'm not quite last night. I've got another man of the match in mind. Rodri carelessly gave the ball away to Salah to give Liverpool an attack and struggled initially. He does also a lot of work that goes unnoticed though, and was against a very good Liverpool side. So he's given him a 6. Rodri, will I give him a 5.5? Yeah, because I just said, yeah, unnoticed, but in a bad way. Gundogan, similar to Rodri, it was to their credit that City stabilised after such a difficult opening to the game. He didn't get forward as often as he can, but was effective at containing. So he's given Gundogan a 7. Again, I thought it was just okay. His little chips don't work in that sort of game, do they? I mean, he doesn't have the time to do those little chip-like, golf-like little chips into the box, and I just thought he was okay. I didn't think he was anything special at all. De Bruyne, he missed the penalty that would have put City in front. He also produced the assist that got them level and was behind most of the good attacking play. A good display spoiled by the spot kick. So I don't think it was a good display. I think it was very poor again last night. Conditions again, but he's given him a 6. I'm only going to give KDB a 5. I just thought he was pretty poor and add the penalty miss to it. All right, he adds the assist, but the assist for a bit of magic from Jesus. Torres earned his place in the team despite the return of Jesus. Worked hard defensively in the early onslaught, but was never really able to get the ball down and run at Robertson. He's given a 6. I thought Torres was awful, offered very, very little really out of it last night. I've only given him a 5. I just very unimpressed with Torres yesterday. Sterling enjoyed going up against defence that wasn't not so deep, but again failed to have the impact he would like against his former club. Booked in the second half as he let his frustration out. He's given him a 6, Sterling. Again, lively but poor decision making again by Sterling. Just fall over, mate. I mean, that's all you have to do. Do the Liverpool thing. As soon as someone looks and does anything to you, just fall over. That's probably the best thing I can suggest to Sterling. But I'll give him a 5 anyway. I don't think he played generally very well. Jesus, an outstanding control and finish to get City back into the game before a very bad miss to head. But it was a very bad miss. Of course, it was a header. He had to get up really high. It wasn't as though he just walked to it. He had to get up high and then guide it. So yeah, you can see where I'm going with this, can't you? A performance to back up the general consensus. Give him a 7. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go mad, but I thought he was our best player yesterday. Great effort. The work, considering he's been out as well, injured, all the slagging off he gets because he's not as good as Aguero, etc, etc, etc. So I've gone 7.5 on Mr. Jesus. Great goal, great effort, and fantastic. I mean, it wasn't a great goal; it was a fantastic goal. The way he left his 2 defenders dead, absolutely superb. Substitutes Bernardo, yeah, very lively performance. It injected energy back into the Blues when they needed it, and he's given him a 7. Yeah, I give Bernardo a 6.5, which is half a point up on the standard. He didn't lose it; he held on to the ball. I don't think he ever gave it away, but there's no one really moving round him by that stage. It'd all gone very lethargic, so he was lively. There was no one working off him, so it was a bit of a waste, really. So, of course, my City's man of the match, of course, you can based on my score. I'm not going to change it. It doesn't always have to be the high scorer, in my opinion. You can man of the match, but I'm going to give it Jesus, obviously, my man of the match. I thought he was superb. As I say, he's only just come back from injury. Last week he played really well, and he played really well yesterday. And I say that header, yes, that would have been the icing on the cake, but I would have been up in 9.5 out of 10 if he'd scored that header. So yeah, I'll say 7.5 isn't fantastic, is it? But I just thought generally the old City team was just Cancelo probably. I probably agree with most people looking at some reviews overnight, etc. Was second to Jesus, but I'm going to give Jesus my Citizen man of the match. Pep Watch, in his last full season or last half season, whatever we call it now, he was fairly brave with the team, although I was very, very disappointed. I said there's no Foden, which is a bit of a cop-out. I mean, at the end of the day, people are saying, this City team, without Silva, but isn't Foden the guy who's supposed to not take over from Silva because it's totally different players, but he's supposed to be seeing more games now, surely. He's a young lad as well. He'd be fit for that. He would have been up for that yesterday. I'm very disappointed with that decision by him. Rodri and Gundogan are never the quickest people, and I don't like them playing against Liverpool. We don't control the game enough. It's all too fast-paced, and Gundo and Rodri, it seems to pass them by when it's a fast game. I just don't understand the logic, but probably better than men than me, like Pep know better, don't they? Second half, just one substitute. Again, unwilling to change things. Klopp was the same. He didn't want to take any chances. He played safe, didn't he, Pep? Let's be honest about it. He was happy with the point in the end. So it sort of tells me a lot. I mean, this is going to be a playing safe. I'm gonna leave this club without causing too much consternation, and with my sort of, what's the word, stats intact, if you like, or my head held high. I'm not going to do anything silly, and that's what I think we're getting from Pep at the moment. We're getting a bit more of a, just a general, Pellegrini-esque sort of season where he's just not trying to make too many mistakes, just trying to go through the motions, and hopefully if we pick something up in the meantime, great. But I wasn't impressed with Pep yesterday. So if you look at my boss's scores, I think Klopp had got exactly 1-2 on. He would have loved to win, of course, but I think he was happy with that. I think he has to be the happy of the two bosses. I mean, I'd give Klopp the basic 6 out of 10, which is standard, but I would give Pep, because of his team and lack of Foden, and the fact he didn't use his substitutes well, and the fact he took the mick of Foden as well at the end, I'm just going to give him 5 out of 10. I was very unimpressed with Pep. Some of the comments, Pep commented it was a fair result. It probably was. He went on to say it was a tough game. They started really well, made runs in behind. It's not easy because they're so fast up front with 4 players. After the penalty, we played much better and equalised. It was a tight game, not many chances for both sides, and 1 point. Every team wants 3 points. 1 point is 1 point. It is. We have played 12 games and lost 1 this season. Unfortunately, we drawn a bit too much, but a draw is a fair result. Of course it is. Cancelo played exceptionally well with the ball and without the ball. When he's consistent, his focus is fantastic. He's a fantastic football player. Well, he might be a cricket player, I don't know. I am maybe more happy than ever. After 12 games, we lost 1 in all competitions. Anyhow, we've been positive. We concede a penalty again. Hopefully we'll learn, but I'm very happy to see players every day like many, many teams. That's why now, hopefully, they can enjoy the international team and come back safe, no injuries. Jesus post-match result is not good for us. It wasn't Jesus. We know that because we're at home, I have to try to win our games here, but it was a tough game. They are the champions, but we cannot drop these points. It was a top game. We know they work hard and have a lot of amazing players. We had a chance to win the game. We did. Both teams wanted to win. Sometimes not in the second half. I don't think they did. When it's like this, you have to control the ball more. We have to keep playing like this and try to convert the chances. We played at home and we have to win the games here. The result is not good for us, and maybe it's good for them. I think I think they're happier with it, mate. I feel good and feel confident. Of course, it's different. My physical condition is not the same. And now I go to my international team and try to help my country. When I come back, I will try to come back in good physical condition. That is the challenge for me. Keep fit and don't get injured, because the season is going to be dangerous for players because of all the games. Absolutely. Rodri, we were a bit disappointed we didn't win, but we're happy with the way we came back, and I think we defended their counter-attacks quite well, said the Spanish midfielder. This should be one of the greatest games in the world. Of course, it's so tight with the quality, but there's a long way to go in this season. We have 1 game left, and we will come back stronger, of course, after the international break, if you're not all injured. Quirky stats up to Joe pre-match. This was Manchester City have won 9 of their last 10 Premier League games against reigning champions. However, they've won none of the last 11 when facing Liverpool as the previous season's title winners. I mean, it was a long time, wasn't it? A long time ago. So that was drawn 2 and lost 9, so it's drawn 3 and lost 9 now, so that's 12 games. Kevin De Bruyne's penalty is the first to miss the target completely in a Premier League game since October 2018. 2018. Yes, you've guessed it. When in the same fixture at Anfield, Riyad Mahrez blazed over against Liverpool. So, hey, another wonderful record for City. Typical City there. Just one from Stat City. Gabriel Jesus has now scored 4 goals against Liverpool in all competitions, only against Everton with 7, as he scored more goals for Manchester City. So obviously likes playing Scousers, obviously. Some of the media headlines, summations on Twitter, Sterling said, 1 point is better than nothing in a tense game like this, but definitely could have claimed more today. Time for the international break, and we go again. There's a lot of we go agains, isn't there? MCFC, City themselves claimed honours even in a breathless Etihad battle it was. I was a nervous wreck the second half. I don't know how you were. If I'm there, I'm not too bad, but I hate watching games like that on the TV. They're just too stressful. I want to be there in games like that. I can cope far better being actually there rather than having to suffer watching it on the TV. Manchester Evening News, some of the headlines, Fab Gab. It all points to a closer title race this season, and sublime term for City reply was in the script, says Jesus. Yes, he doesn't lie, does he? He meant it. Daily Express need to talk about Kevin. Yeah, we probably do, but why? Independent, he needs a rest. I did say that before this. I thought he would be rested for the Olympiacos game and play, on the bench perhaps, and play in this one. So again, I'm not talking hindsight. That's what I said. He needed to be rested. Independent, sorry, not an independent. The Mirror, intriguing encounter ends all square. It did. The Guardian, KDB left to rue penalty miss, weren't we all? The Daily Mail, Pep Guardiola's City are being unconvincing and could have closed the gap here, but missed chances. We did. Very straight to the point. BBC, Liverpool's hopes of returning to the Premier League summit were frustrated as they fought a high-quality draw at Manchester City, who paid a heavy price for KDB's missed penalty. We did. The Daily Star, Blues Brothers, De Bruyne and Jesus let big rivals off the hook. So I assume they're on about Jesus' header. Do I have to kick Jesus' header? Do I have to keep going on about this bloody header? Right, Sky Sports, just in conclusion, really don't know what they're talking about, do they? Are Manchester City out of the title race? Sky Sports. I mean, clickbait's are us. Yeah, so there you go. City lie 10th. Top 6 if we're winning our game in hand. Liverpool are currently 3rd, a point behind the leaders, Leicester. Yeah, it's an opportunity missed by City. If we could have got a goal up, would Liverpool have been able to up their game in the second half? We'll never know, will we? But possibly not. We have to be more positive. Pep said, I think I hinted at it before, didn't he? He's not playing. We're not playing the way we were season 2 and 3. Defensively, I think we're playing a lot better. Although we did look a bit shaky at times, but we're playing a good forward line yesterday. Let's be honest about it. So it bodes well when we play many weaker, so-called weaker teams, doesn't it? I mean, he doesn't trust Foden. This is a problem. I mean, we're losing players, aren't we? Losing quality players. We've lost Fernandinho. We've lost David Silva now. But he obviously doesn't trust Foden either now. I mean, at the end of the day, when is he going to keep putting Foden in? He's not always going to do it every game. So why drop him if he doesn't quite hit the mark in the game? Why drop him for the next game? He doesn't do that with Sterling. He plays him week in, week out. I'm sure Foden can do the same. I'm just very frustrated with the way Pep's treating Foden now, because we've no other options. So, and he's a great player on his day, and he said I think he would have revelled in that yesterday. I think he would have frightened Liverpool, and that's what you've got to do. Liverpool, you have to frighten, like Sane did. Sane frightened Liverpool. Torres never got the opportunity to frighten Liverpool yesterday. He hardly touched the ball. Yeah, so I think Foden was one of the ones. Like Bernardo, you put Bernardo in a more attacking mode, he would have frightened Liverpool as well. I was very frustrated with that team and the way we played. The Mahrez situation, how's that going to play out? There's obviously problems there, whether you deny it or not. I mean, obviously, it's there for everyone to see. I mean, to say it was squad rotation, I'm just not buying it, and all these things that have been rumoured to have been said, etc. So, yeah. The midfield, I mean, this is it, the midfield as well. I mean, where was the support for the defence? The defence played really well yesterday, but we looked a bit shaky because we weren't getting much support from anyone in midfield. I mean, KDB's not going to bust a gut to get back, is he? So, and Gundogan and Rodri, I mean, as I say, I think they vanished for large parts of the game, and you can't do that against teams like Liverpool. And yep, the only person I thought, and one of the reasons why I gave him man of the match, was Jesus. I think was one of the standouts yesterday, and there was only 3 or 4. The defence and Jesus really are the only ones that stood out for me yesterday. Well, defence apart from Walker, obviously. So a little bit disappointed. It's a point. It's not the end of the world, is it? But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with yesterday. Let me know what you think. We're a little bit disappointed with it. I was a little bit disappointed with Pep as well. You can see by my score. Sometimes I just think he's going through the motion at the moment, and that's what worries me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Anyway, yeah, there'll be plenty of videos. I know we've got the international break. There'll be plenty of little vlogs coming out, city history stuff. I've got a special on a back to 1995, and a certain manager who got manager of the month. That was quite funny, wasn't it? A little bit about that, and we've got the that was the week that was quiz. That was the week that was quiz. Yeah, that's I'll be putting out tomorrow on Tuesday. So if you 10th of November, so that'll be about the Liverpool and Olympiacos game. So that'll be a bit of fun for the family. Keep you quiet for a few days, and there'll be 3 or 4 other cities and vlogs coming out. There might be 1 or 2 of these programme vlogs as well. When I have a look at match programmes, hard copies from this season that other clubs are producing, but we're not. But hey, there you go. So please, if you subscribe and press your notifications, you'll get to know when these vlogs are coming out. So the next few days there'll be plenty going on from me, even though it's all quiet on the football front. Please check my links on screen. If you follow a friend me on Facebook and Twitter, I do check every couple of days. I'll follow and friend everyone back. And you can check out my website, moviegamenostalgia.com, for old red DVDs, movie posters from the 90s and 2000s, some board games on there as well. That'll be absolutely fantastic. That's my little day job. And please, if you can tell your friends about the film and TV reviews as well, don't forget they're there. Just check the playlist. If you get bored now before football comes back, there's plenty to look at on the Citizen channel or Bernard's film and TV channel even. There you go. So just check the playlist. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this big match review. Whatever you do yesterday, have a great one. Look after yourself, look after your friends, look after your family. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Until we meet again, hopefully very, very soon. This is Bird saying, please stay safe, Blues. Bye for now.